Actually, my problem's not medical. It's psychological.
2 o'clock in the morning. I should be leaving right close to 3. Don't forget the torque wrench. Hopefully it's there. I haven't touched my low boy all week because I've been pulling wheelers. It's nice to have a break. Get some tri-low action where you just put your brain into neutral and just be like, I don't care what you throw at me. It's not gonna stop me. When you're pulling a wheeler, you can throw anything at me. It's not gonna stop me, but you gotta have to plan out some shit. And it stresses me out. Maybe some people don't worry about it as much as I am. Like, there's 2 different kinds of people. Or maybe 3. People that are retarded. People that just don't care and just go. People that just, like me, and sometimes I wish I wasn't, that just think about what ifs. Man, I hate that. I literally won't sleep. But I also literally don't, I don't want to say I'm definitely not saying that I'm fucking better than anybody else, but always think about everything, consequences, what ifs, and I can only fucking say that I would have to think really hard about it, but I'm pretty sure I've only really superly, if that's a word, fucked up once, and it wasn't even my fault. The dispatch told me to go in a way that I was supposed to go. They had the ins and outs backwards, hauling a service rig, and I came out the way I was supposed to go in, empty, and there was this power line. Okay, since we're talking about power lines and wheelers, I do remember backing into a power pole one time too. No damage to the power pole or anything up there, but I did bend the light bar on the booster heavily into the tire. But it came out the way I was supposed to go in, loaded, and there was a power line that was like super low, and it gets to the point where like you can gauge a power line just by looking at it when you're, well, when you're a certain level of a truck driver. Some of us. And I was driving up to it, and I'm watching, like, and this is another reason why I have these little convex mirrors and stuff on the tops of my big mirrors, is I'm watching, I'm just skimming by, and I'm hugging the side of the road. And anybody that's pulled a booster, loaded, maybe you've had this happen. This is when I was green. I was driving my tandem T-bed, wheeling service rigs. I had experience, but I wouldn't say that I'm like awesome by any means, but this was my learning curve. And I'm like, oh, it was high on this side and went low across the road, so the opposite side, but I was way over in my side. And I got her going slow just in case if I snag it, I could slam on the brakes and just be like, okay, well, this isn't going to work. Even though that would have been horrible, because at that point, the wheels on the booster should have been locked and there should have been no air. But we're traveling on a road ban in road ban season, so doing our due diligence. So I'm moving over, I'm looking at this power line, so I'm looking at this mirror, looking up at the power line, not watching this mirror, and what the service rig and the 48 wheels are doing behind me. And I'm like, okay, cool, we cleared the derrick on the service rig, the monkey boards, and usually something around the monkey boards are like the highest point. Sometimes, depending on how much boost you put into it, sometimes the control panels at the back can be the highest point of around the floor and stuff. and the truck started powering down. I was like, uh-oh. And right at that point, I looked in the mirror and you could see my tire tracks along the side of the road, and the trailer was just going into the ditch further. I literally, I want to say that I hit all the cross locks and locked everything up in my sweet tandem, dropped a gear, and pow on, just to find myself getting anchored and spinning out. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. And right at that very moment, I knew that the office fucked up. So yeah, and the pilot car was right on my ass. I would have forfeited the power line at that point if he would have been like, the booster is trailing into the ditch. It's like, did you think I was just gonna swoop into the ditch to miss this power line? Like, where were you on that? But then most of our pilot car drivers were usually just green swampers that didn't have a lot of experience in situations. I had to learn that because I did it. And up until that point, I didn't really think about that happening. And I wasn't really like, I wasn't in the ditch by any means, but I was definitely on that side. And it's springtime. How many times have you seen the sign? Soft shoulders. And I'm like, I don't know, they're pretty rugged. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, they used to be. Not so much anymore. And yeah, I sat there for like 2-3 hours. 4 hours? 3-4 hours? Paradise Trucking out of Drayton Valley came out with 2 beds, a small bed and a big bed. It was the worst 3 to 4 hours of my waiting life because that whole thing was on a lean. Service rigs, if they have air ride suspension, there's no dump valve. So it's kind of floppy, top heavy already as it is, sits on the wheeler. And then as soon as it got tilted like that, the suspension tried to react to it because the wheelers got left and right control on their suspension. So it was looking real bad in the mirror. I don't know if I got any pictures. I know I have pictures somewhere. Well, it's 2 a.m. and we got to be out by Knighton Junction for 6 a.m. I got back from hauling that super crane, the Dano 1600, whatever it's called. Big crane. Way bigger than the last crawler crane I had to haul. I was like, I can feel this back there. We're going Knighton Junction. We're gonna load some wireline gear, so nothing, I don't think it's gonna be too sweet awesome. What is it? It's -6 here right now, so that's good. Now we gotta take that to Grand Prairie for Liberty, I think. Liberty Wireline.
Yeah, buddy, no sweat.
Lube pipe, I know that one because I worked at Long Car. This, couldn't tell ya. Obviously bolts to the wellhead and does something. It looks like it's got some kind of hydraulic system of some sort. Must be well control. Doing it well. All your hoses for your hydraulics. Grease pounder, hoses and shit like that. Oh, I don't have the grease pounder, but that's on the other truck. Some more numerous wellhead with the controls on it. Salty glove now. Some extra bits here. Ooh. Just kind of loosely rolling around in there. What do? You're like, take that? I'm like, yep, throw her on. Hopefully everything stays put. bunch of numerous hoses here. Some downhole tools. I don't know what these are. It's all very greasy. And I got this one sweet pipe that I had to somehow figure out how to tie it down sideways like that. Got an exhaust leak. Well, I can't hear it, but I can definitely smell it. I'm standing around the truck. It's wafting out from underneath. It's a whopping minus 13 today out here. So we're nojack. We'll go and hit piers, cut across the White Court. Then from White Court to the north side of Grand Prairie, Clairmont, which is where Liberty is. Drop this stuff off and then see how far we can get backwards if I don't get some other kind of thing to do before that happens. Not going to make it home, but looking forward to going to sleep, I'll tell you that. Nobody came out by the time I unstrapped everything. Called dispatch up front and be like, can you put me through to wireline, guys? Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go here. There's like 900 shops. And then somebody shows up. I was about to nod off. Oh. Do you blame me? Look at this shit. It is oh dear. Another dump of snow here. Oh, I see Rides High C500 over at Kenworth. I don't see any other C500s available. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, there is one in there. Probably already sold. Yeah, the highway. As soon as you leave Whitecourt, it gets messy. And then it got real messy. Oh, I'm pretty sure this is Baker Hughes. No, not Baker Hughes, sorry. Lumberjack. Obviously, look at the trucks. First time I ever hauled a coil. Brought it to here at Road Trend. First time ever. Like it was just a small coil, and it was a tandem Jeep tri-axle trailer and a coil in a stand or something. Take that to Grand Prairie. I was like, whoa, HD. I'm like, okay. So I did it. Scales are open too, if I didn't already just say that. I was just following Google, so I came in on this range road. This is it used to be, it would go in and out, but they They cut all this off here. And I was coming in this way and the scales lights were flashing. I was like, okay. Well, not that there would have been a problem, I'm sure, but the scales are a little bit out of the way from, if you're going here, you gotta go way over there. Yeah, lights are still flashing. I did the old slip off the step and got my ass cheek right on the square tubing of the walking deck. Oh, that's gonna be a bruise. Wet feet. I'll probably cut the video off here unless if I see some cool shit, which I did see some cool shit. I'll have to get the girl to pull the dash cam footage at 10:28, 10:30. Just coming into Fox Creek. It was gnarly. The slow lane was icy, and there was sloppy kind of snow in the hammer lane. It was kind of drier, but I just finished passing somebody coming over around that curve off the top of the hill that just drops down just before Fox Creek that a lot of people like to drive off of. Buddy made it around the corner with, I think it was a half-ton, fairly large trailer, and I was just came in behind him, and all of a sudden he fishtailed. The trailer shot out into the ditch. It's just a big snow cloud. Next thing I know, I'm like, shit, is he gonna come into? I move over immediately, but then I'm like, is he gonna dart right across all lanes and go into the median, into the middle, or is he gonna? I didn't know what was going to happen there, so I was just kind of like, oh, I was on the brakes, I was slowing down. This new wave guy. Should have rolled the window down a hair, bud, and then nobody would have known it was a new wave. Oh, it's think tank. I had it wrong, but he just piled into that concrete barrier there. But anyway, buddy fishtailed in his pickup, and he was like, it kind of looked for a second like he was going to come back out into the hammer lane where I was, and I was on the brakes. I was like anticipating. I'm like, there was nobody behind me. And I was like, and the trailer kind of kept him sucked in, but he was straight across the slow lane, pointing out. I was just like, oh man, that sucks. And if it wasn't, like, that's a horrible spot because you come around a curve on a hill down and everybody's always just hammering on it. Wow. If I could have, I would have just, like, you know, throw buddy a lifeline there, but it would have took me quite a while to get stopped, back up, unsafe, so I didn't. I was like, yeah, I can pull you out in a second probably. I was loaded. What did I have, like 20,000 on the drives? Could have locked her up. I probably could have got him out. But, you know, it's unsafe if you don't have road control, so. But Buddy was a sitting target too, also. And we'll see what, we should definitely be able to make it back to White Card. See. But yeah, hopefully I can get the dash cam footage from that. Like that propane bullet guy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.